Actually, this is not going to be something that I have drawn. This is just me messing around with some screen snips. I haven't actually done a lot. Oh, I haven't done a lot of anything really when it comes to painterly stuff. So really, if you really think about it, it's really good practice to like mess around with screen snips of stuff that you want to draw like. I mean, I can already kind of draw like that, or I can already kind of color like that, but for me, uh, it helps because you get to kind of figure out how the artist would do it if this was a painting and not 3D rendering. So I started off with that, and I ended up with this, which, in my opinion, even though it looks good, it's not the best. There's a lot of noise in that. Uh, there's a lot of going on with that. So I would say this is a great first attempt, and it makes for a really good emoji or whatever. I don't care. That's what I used it for. I'm gonna do another one, and instead of using this as my base, which is this, it's not really that great quality to start off with. Instead of doing that from screen snip, I'm gonna try and use, let's see, we're gonna try to use AI from Topaz to enhance the video, and I'm gonna try to drop the video directly into Photoshop because this is what Photoshop 2021. So Photoshop 2021, you can actually throw videos in there, and I can go frame by frame and kind of like find that right frame that I'm looking for, and then work from the quality that I have from that AI enhanced image through Topaz and directly into Photoshop, and then I can go through and try to, mask out the character. And instead of using this as my base, which is this, it's not really that great quality to start off with. Instead of doing that from screen snip, I'm gonna try and use, let's see, we're gonna try to use AI from Topaz to enhance the video, and I'm gonna try to drop the video directly into Photoshop because this is what Photoshop 2021. So Photoshop 2021, you can actually throw videos in there, and I can go frame by frame and kind of like find that right frame that I'm looking for, and then work from the quality that I have from that AI enhanced image through Topaz and directly into Photoshop, and then I can go through and try to, mask out the character and see how much better it is. I mean, it's not a terrible quality. This is pretty good. Right now I have the video, and I'm gonna airdrop that right on. Not airdrops, that Apple. I'm gonna take that and just throw it right on in here in the Topaz. So you guys can't see that. I'm gonna switch to Topaz now. There we go. And this should be the video, even though I can't see jack squat. Here we are. I don't want to do the whole video because that's like a lot to render. So I just want the part that where he comes out of his gaze. I'm not gonna do any of this right here because there's way too much going on with the background and all that. Although I think I would like to have that part. You never know. So I'll start from 2882. I think these are frames. So frame 2882 is really not responding right. 82, and I'm gonna do ending frame at I think that this one. All the other expressions after, it's kind of like sort of good. I'll take it. I'll take them. Who cares? So I'll end it at 3,000. So 3, 2, 2, 1. All right, there we go. That's where we're gonna cut it. And then I forget which AI I actually wanted to use. I think this, yeah, this is not the default that I put in here because, yeah, it's only set at 200%. So I'm gonna do 8K because I want to blow my computer up apparently. And you know what? I'm not gonna do 8K. I'm gonna do 4K, which is just around what I work at. And I believe this is the one that I always use. I could be wrong. It's the one that actually, in my opinion, takes the AI and actually does something to whatever's on screen. The other ones seem to kind of like go around and try to sharpen and like mess with like certain things around it, but it doesn't look like the other ones do anything. So this right here is the one I'm going to use, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit the start process batch button here, and that should start. I'm going to close Photoshop because yeah, Photoshop is like, it's so power hungry. There we go. All right, so now I'm running Topaz, and you can see like just such a substantial difference between the two. I'm gonna try zoom in. Oh, can I zoom in? Yeah, I can. There we go. That is a really good example. It looks like there's a lot of sharpening that's happening. Also, a little bit of sharpening, but it's not like the type of sharpening that you get from Photoshop. It's like, it's a different kind of sharpening. Yeah, to say the least. I can't describe it. Now I understand why I was so bugged by that like orange stuff that was popping out of his shirt, because now I can kind of see that it's just the fur. It was fur. So if you noticed in the one that I just closed out, probably did not save right, this is all green. That's because I couldn't put my finger on what the hell the green stuff was, I mean the orange stuff, so I just used the blur tool to move that out of the way. But now I know what it is. It's his fur coming through the CG shirt that they overlaid on top of it, which is okay because I wish I had their abilities. I wish I could freaking render fur like that. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. So let's go ahead and get an even closer look at that preview. I'm gonna do 100% here. Oh my god, huge difference. And I think this works a lot better with CG characters versus like real life stuff, because in the real life stuff this kind of looks like Play-Doh, like it starts turning into Play-Doh. But the CG stuff, like, it's really sharp. Like, look at that, look how faded that line is on here, and then look at the fur on here. I do see a little bit of noise, I think, on here still, but even with the noise, it's a little bit more clear. You got more stuff that's defined, like this guy. It's really ramping my computer up right now. I'm really hoping that this whole thing finishes before my power supply decides to send my motherboard into safety mode. It's done it so many times running AI stuff on here, so I'm hoping it doesn't do that this time. Yeah, I really do like that. I like that. It looks like it's actually reducing a little bit of the noise. But either way, I feel like the quality that I'm going to get for the still image that I'm trying to get out of this is going to be so much better than me using, the snip tool from Windows to capture the image and then paste it in the Photoshop so that I can work on it. And in addition to that, I'll have a much bigger image that I can work with masking out the character and getting that character to getting the background to be transparent. So I have a lot more to work with, and these sharp lines will really help with that. Look at that sharp line, like right there where the hand meets the bottom of the chin area. Oh, what? Like if I was trying to mask anything, like right here. Okay, forget about that part. Look at this part right here on the this right hand, where it masks off, where it's like the blue and then the background. Look how much sharper that line is right there. It's almost like this 3D thing, well, not 3D, the AI stuff does a little bit of the work for you so that you don't really have to go through and fight with this kind of thing. Now, I will add that there is some noise, and I'm really hoping that noise is not in the end product, but there's some noise happening right here. I don't know if you can see that. It is noisy. I don't know what that noise is. It's like a really nice, like pattern looking thing down here happening. Kind of strange. It wasn't there a second ago, and now it is. And maybe it is throughout the entire render I'm looking at. Overall, though, sharpness is pretty good. I think that a majority of the patterns that I'm starting to see, those little hex, I don't even know what you call these little bubbles. I think I can just get rid of those using blur tool a little bit on that. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I hope those are not in the final product. This thing stopped. It stopped. It froze. I'm gonna try opening and closing. Well, actually, you know what? Let me check. Make sure it's recording. It looks like it stopped. I'm gonna try in the software to try to zoom out and hope that, cross my fingers that actually helps something. Yeah, it says ETA is 4 minutes. So this is a pause inside of the movie. It rendered it all at just one. Oh, you know what I just realized? And this is pretty cool. A lot of the patterns that we saw zoomed really far in is not something that you will see at a really far distance, like from right where I'm at right now. Like you're not gonna see all those little tiny little circle looking things. All you're gonna really tell is that it's sharper, and it can be even sharper if I went to Photoshop and kind of did a little work with it. Now there is that work in progress thing down here, and it washes out a little bit over here. I fixed that in the one that you saw as well. I didn't fix it, I just made it look better. Basically cropped right along the line of this guy. And then I reintroduced brightness and contrast and a little bit of saturation. I gradiated out from that on this part right here, but what I think I'm going to end up doing is I'm actually going to copy the whole bottom half of this time around. And I'm going to increase the brightness, the contrast, well, not increase it. I think it's increase the brightness, lower the contrast, or raise the I forgot what it was. I think it was raise the contrast, lower the brightness, and then increase the saturation. And then after that, I'm going to erase array right where it gradiates over to the face. And then that should give me even coat so that this doesn't look like it's starting to lighten up where the work in progress thing is. I kind of wish they didn't put that work in progress thing in there at all. Or if they did put it in there, they put it like in a corner up here or over here and without the white thing on here. But I guess they did that because it looks good to them, or they did it because they don't want people doing exactly what I'm about to do with this with their thing. That's my guess. I don't know. All right, so we got 2 minutes left on here. We're doing 1.91 frame I don't know what it means. Is that, I guess that means 1.91 frames a second. So every single second we get one, almost two frames per second. So, or no, 1 frame for every 2 seconds. Sorry, I got a little mixed up. So every 2 seconds there should be a frame. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's more than 2 seconds. I'll be honest with you. You know what? It is. It's correct. That's all right. Okay, come on, slow. We got 1 minute remaining. And computer is holding up pretty good. Actually, kind of a shocker because I'm also, not only am I rendering this, but I'm also recording it, and I'm streaming a call. Let me see if those guys are in my call. Nope, it's just me, but I am streaming it in a call as well, so computer's doing a lot of stuff right now. It's not having a sweet time. As a matter of fact, I think I closed the part where I was actually streaming my screen to the stream, just to conserve a little bit of energy. I think I'm gonna also block the preview on OBS just to conserve a little bit of graphic computing. Yeah, it's still getting mighty toasty in here, just running this, and I think that is mainly because my GPU is not processing this video at all. I really honestly feel like it's not. So this is that quality shot that I was looking for. This is a quality shot, I say in quotations. Let's look at what we got. Ugh. I mean, it looks better in general. Like, if I was gonna look at the original, and I'll look at this. Let me look at what I had before, and then let me look at what I have here now. Even though I said earlier I wasn't gonna do that. Here I go. So I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna paste it right here in this drawing. Okay. It's not showing up. Yeah, but then the other part that does show up is missing, so I'm gonna put it on top of the video. Okay, good. So there's a little bit of texture that I see that is in here that's not in here, maybe. I did increase, I think, the contrast a little bit, so that would make sense why that's not in here. Size-wise, definitely bigger. It's not like this is just a screen snip. It has more going on with it. Something's different. You know what I mean? I can see something different inside of it. Can't tell what it is. Can't put my thumb on it. Anyway, I think that is exactly the frame right there. It's not this frame. It looks like it's definitely this frame right here that it is. Not sure why that layer keeps coming back in there. It shouldn't. Oh, because it's on top of that main layer and it only covers one layer of a mask. Alright, so anyway, because I don't want to go and do the same thing over again, not try to compare two things, tomato kind of deal here. I want to do a different expression, so I think this expression right here is good. he holds it for some time. I think this part right here is probably the best one. I'm gonna look and see if I can find one that has the most details. Here we go. I think that's about as good as it's gonna get right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to get this particular frame. And I'm going to try to get it into a box. A crop that's the shape of a box. Let's go ahead and do that. So let's do it. There we go. That is about as much as I can get in that box. I don't think I can remove the text from this one, though. Can I? Yeah, I can. Got a little text out of there. I'm gonna open this up just a small bit. Okay. Why don't we undo whatever that was? And there we go. Alright, there we go. It's still a video file right now, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to File, Image, and go to Mode. It's already set to RGB and it says 8, so I'm gonna have to just convert this image layer so I'm just gonna hit flatten image and see what happens. That probably is not gonna do anything, but discard hidden layers and animation. Yes. Ooh. I just got rid of all the goods. So now it's just one flat image, and as you can see, I've cut off the text. So this is gonna be my first quality check. I'm gonna save this as a PNG file. Hope you can't see that. Save. And honestly, I have no idea where it's saved to, so just gonna, let me see, where did it save? Downloads, saving my downloads. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm gonna drop this file. Oops, didn't mean to drop it in here like that. Undo. Let's get a new document. Oh no, I'm just gonna drag it in here. Here we go. Boom. All right, and then I'm gonna drop in the previous one that was captured using Windows Capture that didn't run through AI or anything. Let's see what that looks like. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to drop it into the drawing. But you know what? I think it'd be good. Let's just leave it. Let's put it in here. And to add to that, let's go ahead and increase the size of that so it's the same size as the one underneath it, of course, because you know why not. Obviously I blocked out the text, so oh, this is gonna be a pain in the tailbone because I have no idea why that work in progress is not. It's not in the same place, or is this just like a different size capture, or what? What is going on here? Huh. It's not normal. Alright, I'm gonna try to move it over. For some reason, the dimensions are like a slight bit off, almost like something changed. But let's look at the difference here. I don't know about you, but I feel like I have so much more to work with the AI enhanced one. Like if you look at that fur right down there, and you look at this fur, it's almost like you don't see all that. Now it does look like they add a little bit of contrast in here now that I'm really looking at it, but it almost seems like this stuff has just been recreated. I'm gonna look at some of this side here. It's like, you can see how clean that is now. There's a lot more detail in here, and that could also be coming from the capture software. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. Blue. But no, there's a lot of more detail in that. Like, this ear is probably the best example. This whole section is probably the best example of why this is a good idea. Like, if you were just going for the most detail in an image possible, then I would say for sure go for this, because I feel like the AI software has not only just gone through and made it a more clear to look at, but it's actually kind of done a lot of the work that you would have had to do yourself for you in it. Now, I will say it did do some weird thing where it made the whole entire thing brighter, because that's definitely brighter than the original. I'm not sure why it did that. That makes honestly no sense. But apart from that, I think it's a pretty good deal. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. This is what I would have worked with, sorry, and I'm gonna use this. So for starters, we're gonna do is to duplicate the background layer. Boom. I'm gonna hide it for now because I actually want to keep it. So there's no reason why I need to make a smart object. Not a little bit of reason, right? And I can go back and start streaming. Because this is gonna be a video, I don't want to lose the whole AI rendering part. I'm gonna actually stop recording here for a second of this out. In all honesty, I don't really care too much about the fur close to the face, because I'm going to be recreating all that with the blur tool anyway, so I can get rid of as much of that as I want. Honestly, I'm not too certain about what's going on back here. Now that I look at it, I can see that that's his ear the whole time. The other one, I just erased that ear because I had no clue what it was, but now that I can see it as an ear, I'm just gonna make it a little bit more pointy so it looks like an ear. That's it. So let's go ahead and cut the background out. I will like to add that the background was so much easier to select in this compared to before with the smaller resolution. The background was a pain in the tail. This is not a pain in the tail. What I did learn from the last time though, and what I am going to improve right now, is I'm actually going to add a black background to this, because last time I did not, and when I finally got done, I found out that there was parts that still look like this at the very end of it. I didn't like that. Also, on top of that, I'm going to add in the photo filter now. So it's just gonna make him look a little more yellow. Oop, not into this part, no, wrong one. So I'm gonna go to image adjustments and then go to photo filter, and I think that's about right. That's just to knock out the green that they put in there originally. I don't know why they did that. But I mean, I know why they did that, obviously. It's for the scene. But yeah, I'm gonna knock that out. It actually makes things a little easier because now I can just go through and find all the little spots that I want to erase. So it's a little bit of a debate here. I think I'm gonna go and select as much of this blue as I can through the selection tool, just to get rid of as much as I can get rid of. So select similar, And we'll just go around and see if any of it selects stuff in the face, and it does, so I can't actually just go and delete all of it. Yeah, standard magic wand. And I'm gonna go and select similar again. And that did a little bit more damage, which is good. And I think that's gonna probably be enough for me to get all of that going out. Okay. Now, with the magic of the blur tool, well, actually, first off, let me clean up all this nonsense here. I'm just using a faded circle, or whatever you call this, brush tool. Don't use a hard brush, that's not going to help you. So you drop them and that'll help you. So, alright, so if you're wondering why I kept that background in here, it gives you a good idea of like how the fur was before and after. I don't really reference those. A lot of times I just create what I feel is going to be fur. So using a soft blur tool, I would say the strength probably at 50% looks good. I can probably go to 60%. You can go and you're going to push the fur into the character. You can pull that out as well, but you probably want to pull out the fur or the blur. I keep saying blur tool. It's just the smudge tool is what you're using. It's not a blur tool. You're not blurring anything right now. Probably will later on. Some parts in the middle here, but in all honesty, the smudge tool can actually do all the blurring. Like you can go in here where you're finding like weird pixelation and stuff that you don't want, and you can use that tool to go in here and kind of clean this stuff up. When I do my painterly style stuff, this is pretty much exactly the way I do it, especially when I'm working on a single layer the whole time. I would go in with yeah, I'm gonna keep mixing these two up, so I'm gonna just say with this tool, and I would go and clean up a lot of the messed up lines, a lot of the stuff that's coming into the drawing, and it looks really good. It's also recommended that you keep that black background in there. I don't know why I stopped doing that. It makes no sense. The overall goal for what you're working on right now, if you are doing this, you want to try this. You don't have to do it in Photoshop 2021. I don't know why I decided to try 2021. I thought it had a better chance of selecting out this stuff, but from what I've seen, you can probably do the same thing in Photoshop CS3. The only thing is, I think that it handles the colors a little worse than 2021, so you start to get a lot of artifacts, I guess is what you call it, in areas with certain colors. And I don't think that happens here. I don't see any artifacts at all. Looks like it's working really good in this res, so just kind of keep going along the line and clean that up. What I didn't do, I didn't compare the original video to the rendered video after the rendering, and I don't really think I need to do that, because if you look in the earlier parts of this video where it was Topaz was doing its job, you can kind of get the idea of how the original differs from the render version of it. You kind of get what it does and how much better it is. It's really good. I would say for anything really. Like, let's say you're trying to get a reference for a background and you don't really feel like you want to draw that whole dang background over again, because that is just absolutely annoying. And you're doing like fan art or something, and you're able to go through video of whatever you're trying to work on and find that background that you're looking for, or a background that could work for that scene or whatever, and you want to use that. Well, a lot of times you can't use it because the resolution is complete trash and it doesn't look good and pretty much destroy your drawing. I see some people that actually, YOLO it and decide to go ahead and use the bad video as their background anyway, and Photoshop a little bit of it so it looks better or whatever, take out like whatever characters are in it, some nonsense like that. And I personally think that that's not a good idea. I used to, a long time ago, I used to go and recreate like 100% of my backgrounds and spend hours upon hours upon hours on making background look good, all this craziness. And I found that that's not a good way of going about things. So nowadays I kind of try to find other ways of other ways of getting a background that doesn't require hours upon hours of drawing and to get the same result as something that already exists. Especially if you're doing fan art, that art is, in my opinion, not as valuable as if I was doing like art of my own character or whatever. So there's no real reason why you need to spend a ton of time or invest a lot of time in working on a background for that. I mean, you can do it. I still like to do it if I'm really feeling like creating a new background or something, but in my opinion, I think you need to save your unique background and stuff for art that you value as art that needs to have crazy good background. You can have like art that, in my opinion, does not meet that criteria, that does not deserve, the time of day. But some people just, I don't know, they just like to go all out in the background. I've done it before. So this is one of those parts I was talking about. So for this part, I'm not actually gonna go and do all that. I'm gonna use the clone stamp and try and attempt, to replicate this part right here, up here. That did not work for some mysterious reason now, because the opacity is so super low. There we go. Okay, I don't understand that at all. What the hell? Okay, that's the alt, right? Are we using alt to clone stamp? I think that's the clone stamp. There we go. It's too heavy. Alright, so that solved that little problem. I think I could just now take the blur tool and just blur it out a little bit, and we should be good to go. Shouldn't be too much. There we go. It's not my art. It's literally just a screen capture I'm cleaning up to use as a I don't know, just a thumbnail little thing, or I can probably use it as an icon somewhere later on or something. I don't know. Basically, me goofing around, giving you a little idea of how I go about like cleaning up fur and stuff. This is if I was to draw this, this is probably exactly how I would clean the fur up a little bit. This is exactly how I would do it. Of course, I would not use Photoshop 2021 for that. I know some people probably would be upset because of that statement, but you know, Photoshop 2021, I think, is for people who actually went through all the steps to get to Photoshop 2021. Photoshop. Like, I did not. I used Photoshop CS3 up until yesterday. I have never stopped. And when I was brought into Photoshop 2021, I was unaware of how many options in the menus had changed since I started using Photoshop Photoshop CS3, which is it's a lot. A lot of stuff seems out of place, and a lot of stuff just doesn't seem like stuff that I would use in that manner. I'm not one for shortcuts, and it's not like I don't want to relearn Photoshop or anything like that. I just think it's a little bit overly complicated to use this Photoshop versus CS3, which pretty much just has everything where I want it, and it's not broken. Like, CS3 still works with this tablet just as much as any other one that I've used, so I don't really see the reason. I'm gonna add a little bit of fur here on his face here where the hand meets. I think they originally did have some there. The AI must have just already eradicated it from here. Didn't want to have that fur there. I don't know why, but alright, that looks good. I'm trying to keep it real light with a pen so I can get these smaller hairs in there. So basically at this point, I don't know if you can tell at this point, what I'm trying to do is just get rid of anything that looks light, because that light is the background. Now you can have a little bit of it in there, but it's best to have none. Just have the character's fur color come through, because then whatever new background you put on it will take its place, versus trying to make sure you match the background with whatever background you previously had, so it doesn't look kind of out of place that you have all this blue. Getting rid of a few of the rendering issues. I mean, this looks like it was a beta render for sure. I mean, minus, the fact that there was text at the bottom that said it was. But yeah, it had a few flaws that are actually in the character's face. I'm not fixing those. This is not art that needs to be fixed. Obviously, Zootopia was released and they had made a substantial improvement to the character designs and made sure that they went through and got as many of the errors as possible out of the character in the final product. So me correcting errors in something that has already been corrected and was not actually really used because the concept was changed, it makes literally no sense at all. It's counterintuitive to what I would like to do, so I'm not doing that. Right, it's just a fun little experiment, and not a real experiment for that matter. I was actually not going to do this. I already did it one time with the other one, and I looked at it and I just didn't like the results that I got, and that is the reason why I'm doing this and actually streaming it. So, well, not streaming it, but making a video of it so you guys can look at it and you can have your own opinion about it. You can feel free to share your method in the comment section if you want. You don't have to. No one has to comment on my videos. My videos are not great, so. But I'm sure you guys probably have your own method of kind of doing the same thing. And for those who are interested in like learning how to do fur, I think this is a fun little practice Not saying that you have to use AI, you don't. If you can find a way to capture the video, or if you can download the video in like the best quality you can possibly get, and then get it into Photoshop or whatever editing software you use, I think you can practice this and give you a really good idea of like how the fur looks like on all these characters. Or for that matter, if you're doing Zootopia stuff and you want to do like a real realistic render, you can do that as well. I'm not doing any realistic Zootopia renders right now, but I still feel like it's helpful and a fun little experiment to try out and feel my way around. I think I'm good with what I got here. I'm gonna do a little bit of faded. So in order to fade a little bit of this stuff, you have to just shake it around a little bit, and you get that nice little fade effect of that. Just shake it around a little bit while holding on. And you can do that in any part of this if you want. I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so the easier method, in my opinion, would be to section off just this part. And then kind of like try to copy that color on this side that's already here, instead of having to do the whole thing over again. It always helps to have more than one method to do something. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? See, that's the one thing about Photoshop 2020 that bugs me. One of the many. So I'm going to try and match that color as well with the same brush tool. And now, deselect that. And now I'm going to try my hardest to blur the two together. Still not the best results, but I assure you this result is so much better than what I had last time, so I'm gonna just get rid of whatever I was doing right there, because that didn't work. Got it. Alright, so now I'm going to work on this bottom section here. I know his fur is coming through his shirt. Honestly, I like to edit things and like to clean up things to an extent if I had a chance, because it gives me an opportunity to practice a little bit. But I'm not going as far as to remove the fur on his shirt and have to recreate that whole section of his shirt. Hell no. It looks fine. It doesn't look like a bad thing. It just looks like his shirt has a big hole in it. I don't know. Whatever the case is, that fur is fine. So I'm going to leave that alone. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead, take the lasso tool, and I'm going to feather it. There we go. And then I'm going to go, at this time I'm going to actually duplicate this, because last time I didn't do that. So duplicate that part, select inverse, cut the background, and now I'm going to go and take this part right here, image adjustment, and we're going to go, you know what, I'm going to start off brightness and contrast this time. I didn't start off there. Last time I started with hue and saturation, and that did something, but I don't think it did what I want it to. So this time, let's start off with brightness and contrast, and then we go to hue and saturation if we need to. So that didn't do anything at all. Oh crap. Anyway, okay, so edit, undo, Select. We're gonna go ahead and select more of this. Select the inverse. Select inverse once again. And we're gonna cut that out. I don't think I cut anything. Alright, we're gonna delete that layer. Okay, we don't need it. It's gone. Now I'm gonna duplicate the whole thing. And then I'm gonna take a big giant eraser tool and erase out all that happens above this line right here. Alright, there we go. Now I'm gonna go image adjustments, and we're gonna go brightness and contrast again. And then we'll lower the brightness, up the contrast. And it looks absolutely terrible. So I'm not gonna do that. Let's start off with image adjustments, hue and saturation. So we're gonna upgrade the saturation. Go. And we're gonna lower the lightness a little bit. Get that saturation in there. Right now I'm gonna go image adjustments, then we'll go brightness and contrast. Right, up the contrast. And the brightness a little bit. Ugh. It is getting a little sharp on that fur, chest fur a little bit. So I'm gonna erase that part a little bit. I'm just gonna change the hue, image adjustment, hue and saturation. Change saturation, sorry. Saturation. I don't know why it's not working so well the second time around. I'll try brightness and contrast one more time. Maybe raise the brightness and contrast. Contrast is like maxed out. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. I'm not gonna fight with it any longer. I'm gonna just go ahead and try my absolute hardest to get this to come down here using paintbrush tool and multiply, but like a super low opacity of multiplying there. And then we're gonna get some of that green right here, and we're just gonna paint that in here. Try to get that green back up on the side. Maybe a little bit in here too. That looks good. I mean, it looks better. I'm not gonna say it looks good. It got its flaws. That's not red. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit this side up the red like a lot, and then run it through again. I think that's okay. It's acceptable. I'm gonna get this red, go back to normal, and just kind of like paste it in here a little bit. Kind of get these to blend a little bit more. And that looks okay. I can't fight with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge that down. That looks a-okay in my opinion. Maybe a little less saturation in that middle part right there, but I mean, you know what, let me feather it and see if I can get the saturation to drop just a little bit on that. Image adjustments, hue, saturation. Lower saturation on that, just a pinch. Yeah, alright, that looks good. Then after that, go ahead and merge. And merge that down. That looks like it's good enough in my opinion. Merge layers. Let's go to image adjustment. I'll filter. Sharpen, smart sharpen. Let's see what we got for our preview. I'm gonna lower the amount of sharpen. I don't know that much. I feel like the amount of sharpening that's already been added is more than adequate. I don't think it needs to be more sharp, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does need to be more sharp. Maybe that's one of the things this is missing. You know what? Cancel. I'm not going to add sharpness to it. If I was going to add sharpness, I think it needs to be up here rather than down there. There's a lot of sharpness down there, so let me try and select just the top half of his head. And then go to filter, sharpen, smart sharpen, and no, that's unsharpen. Let's see what that does. That definitely does bring that part to life a little bit better. For sure. I think it could use that, maybe a little less than that amount, but yeah, that's good. That really does tie everything together. And then I'm going to do some last minute cleanup. See your little thing right there, get rid of that. I'm gonna bring this in some more. What am I using right now? Blur tool? Yeah, it's not 29%, it's just not enough to do anything. Okay, that's it. That's all that needs to be done. You can just post that. So I'm gonna post this in the YouTube comment section, whatever. I'm gonna post it in there. And I might also post the Zootopia AI rendered thing in there as well. That section. So here we go. That's it. If you guys want to know how to do the most difficult, most painstaking, cleanup of a masking of a drawing or anything, screen cap, whatever, that has fur in it, this is it. Give it a shot if you like. There are way more effective methods, I believe. I just don't know them. And if you guys know any methods, I would love to see you guys post videos about your methods and the software that you use and how you do it, and share it with me. You can throw the link down in this video. I don't block links at all, so I mean, by all means, throw your link down there and I'll actually watch it. I'm always interested in finding out new ways of doing things. I haven't done a lot of painterly stuff recently, so this is like just like tempting me to get back to some of my painterly style stuff. I'm tempted, friend. That'll do it. That'll do it. After you've done all that, if you did not use the paintbrush tool at all in black, which I highly recommend you don't do, if you did it by mistake, you know, for some mysterious reason, you will have more work to do at this step to clean up the black that you added into the drawing by mistake. But if you did not use that and you had everything not masked off, but pretty much the way it is like right now in whatever drawing you're working with, then when you click off the background, you should see pretty much nothing but the character, and that's it. You can take this moment to go through and clean up anything else that you can spot that you think is something that should not be in your final. Like right now, I'm adding on a little bit more of that eyebrow. I think that should be in there. And I'm rounding off that side of his face a little bit more. There's a little bit of darkness happening on this side here that I don't like, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that by bringing some of the lighter tones down. And then right here, and look at that. That looks a little bit better. Just blending these a little bit more using just this tool, I think is the best. It's the best for trying to do fur. I'm also going to try and make this a little bit shorter if I can. If it will let me. It's not letting me. It's really not letting me. Okay, whatever. I'll just cut it. Just made it a little shorter so it fits better into that part. Do a little more cleanup job. We can also take a look at the original versus the now to see what kind of changes have been made. As you can tell, I've added a little bit of eyebrow back into the drawing. A little bit of extra cheek going on here, I've added that in. That's just to make the character look more rounded. It does look like in this scene that's all missing, and that's just because it looks like this is not the full fur rendering that you can get with this character. I don't know why, it just isn't. Oh, I know why, because it's a pre-production. It's like this is a concept. You know, it's not the full thing. I don't know if Nick had a little glare on his eye or something. I don't think so. Don't add that. But I think right here on his eyeball, he may have had something like that. Alright, that's good enough for me right there. I'm gonna go ahead and run that through. So I'm gonna save that as a PNG file. go image size, and we're gonna lower this to 52. I'm gonna go filter. Filter, sharpen, smart sharpen, and I'm gonna sharpen that just a pinch. And now I'm gonna save that as the smaller size. You know what I just realized though? I could have cropped it a little bit, so I'm gonna crop this. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So it's got a mind of its own there just then. No, undo that. Undo! Alright, let's crop that. You can tell my abilities in this Photoshop's like not great. Alright, and I'm gonna save that as a smaller. So that's also gonna be saved as a PNG file. Just save that as S. And I'm gonna go step back. Matter of fact, I actually think I'm going to crop this down to the size of the other one as well. I don't like all that unnecessary space right there at the top, so alright, now save that. So that's the PNG as well. Just I'll save this too. And that'll do it for anybody who is interested in attempting this on their own. You will probably need some sort of AI thing. I believe there's some online that you can do, and you don't even need like you get the YouTube link or whatever, and then you can run it through that software, and it'll do all the work for you for the AI part of it, and then you could just go through and painstakingly make the fur look like fur. I'm sorry, that I don't know a faster way of doing it, but that's just kind of how I work, and that's it. I look forward to more painterly style art though from me. I will actually be using the practice that I'm doing now to actually make some art that looks painterly again at some point. This guy's done. We can just close everything out. And that concludes our draw session for today. It doesn't conclude the draw session, it just concludes the art that I'm going to be doing for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I really hope someone subscribes to my YouTube channel. It's kind of hard to keep subscribers in here. I don't know why, but it just is. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.